Hey everybody, it's Charlie. No surprise, HBO just dropped a whole bunch of new Game of Thrones material. They did a new promo for the Iron Throne that's a very big callback to the promos that they did for Season 1, like who will wind up in the Iron Throne. So there are a couple big Easter eggs in this, and Easter eggs in some of the costumes, some of the new costumes that the characters are wearing. So we'll break it down. There's a new round of the Game of Thrones book giveaway. All you have to do to enter is be a subscriber and leave a comment on the video. So first big thing here, the fact that they're doing a who will wind up on the Iron Throne, very ambiguous look at the main cast and some of the secondary characters. People are like, where's Gendry? Couldn't he also possibly wind up on the Iron Throne? Because he does have a claim if he gets legitimized. Yes, it's totally true, there are potential candidates, but thematically what they're going with here is they just want to show the main cast and some of the bigger secondary characters. Like Brienne technically isn't main cast, but she is one of the bigger characters. Ser Jorah, same thing. The way they delineate between the main cast and the rest of the characters is a little bit different. There's only a couple of core characters, but there are many main cast members, so that's just a technicality. But the really big Easter egg in here for Game of Thrones Season 1 is the original teaser trailer that HBO released way back in January 2011. It was basically the same thing, a bunch of different main characters sitting on the Iron Throne, because all of HBO's marketing was centered on the battle for the Iron Throne the first several seasons. They even named the series Game of Thrones after the first book. Technically, the series is called A Song of Ice and Fire, so obviously there's a huge misdirect in this, but if you haven't seen it in a long time, this is that actual first teaser trailer.
Winter is coming.
This one will be long, and dark things will come with it.
I saw what I saw.
I know they did it. In my bones, I know it.
The boy won't talk, and if he does, I'll kill him.
I don't want to be his queen. I want to go home.
My brother has his sword, and I have my mind.
You might not have my name. You have my blood.
Honor! Getting it honor that's keeping the peace, it's fear!
Distrusting me was the wisest thing you've done.
Everyone who isn't us is an enemy.
You killed me. Your brother's a dead man.
Stop this madness in the name of your king!
I'll kill the whole bloody lot of them until you and I are the only people left in this world.
How nostalgic is it rewatching that Season 1 promo, then looking at all these Season 8 Iron Throne promos and thinking about how much the characters have changed, how much the power base has changed, and the focus of the show. But the whole thing here, you probably realized, is all this Season 8 For the Throne marketing. It's like the hashtag they've been using on all their stuff, For the Throne, even on all the old clips that they've been posting, is that it's a giant misdirect. They spent the first several seasons of the show with the characters just focused on that. It was all about battling for the Iron Throne, all about rebellion, who's going to wind up ruling Westeros. Then around the end of Season 5, the Hardhome episode, we finally started to see the show doubling down on the mythology plot, the Song of Ice and Fire of it all, with a major battle appearance from the Night King and the White Walkers. First actual appearance of the Night King on the show was Season 4, Episode 4 in that post-credit scene where you got to see how the Night King made new White Walkers using Craster's sons. Like, oh, that's where they came from. That's who all these people are fighting this season. So like during Season 7, Episode 6, when you see them all walking around the Battle of the Lake, those are all Craster's sons. But the Hardhome episode was really where the show started to bifurcate its focus. There were still a lot of characters battling for the Iron Throne. It was still the main focus of the show and the main focus of the marketing, but they now also started to focus on the secondary plot of the War for the Dawn, the Song of Ice and Fire of it all, which is really what the series is about. By the time you got through Season 6 up to now, the balance of those two storylines has shifted, and the focus now is more about the War for the Dawn, defeating the White Walkers, with only a few characters genuinely still caring about what happens to the Iron Throne. You have people like Cersei, you have some smaller characters, probably like the Lords of the North and the other nobles that would care what happens to the Iron Throne, but largely, most of the main characters, the main cast, only care about defeating the White Walkers. So the big misdirect was spelled out all in Daenerys' vision at the end of Season 2 in the House of the Undying. The reality of the situation, this isn't a story about the battle for the Iron Throne. This is a story about everyone coming together and putting their differences aside so that they could survive winter, so to speak, defeat the Night King and his army. And the real wheel that Daenerys keeps talking about breaking, I'm going to break the wheel, isn't actually going to be some socio-political thing about helping peasants, although that's a little bit of it. The real wheel is the Song of Ice and Fire, the cyclical nature of their battle against the Night King and the forces of the White Walkers. There are cyclical seasons on Planetos, the planet where Game of Thrones takes place. The cycle has been that one group wars with the Children of the Forest or an aboriginal group. They engage measures of last resort using their blackest, darkest magics to raise White Walkers and turn the local population against themselves, use their great numbers against them. That begets a cycle wherein a group comes together, an Azor Ahai figure rises, they defeat them back, and in the case of the last Long Night, literally build a wall to keep them out, but they don't completely deal with the problem, so that cycle repeats and things come back again. They're threatened with a second Long Night. You have a second Azor Ahai figure rise up in the form of Jon Snow or Daenerys, however you want to think about it. If you want to get really technical about it, I would say that Jon Snow is being positioned as that one figure. Although Daenerys and Jon Snow are a Song of Ice and Fire, but Jon Snow himself is a Song of Ice and Fire because of Rhaegar Targaryen and Lyanna Stark. So it just fits a little bit better if you focus on Jon Snow. But as Daenerys says, they're trying to break the wheel, so the real wheel is trying to break the Night King, end the threat of the White Walkers forever, so that the cycle is broken and the wheel does not continue to turn. That's why it's so funny seeing these For the Throne, Iron Throne promos, because there probably won't even be an Iron Throne at the end of the series, and even if it does exist in some form, none of the surviving characters would probably even care about it. They just care about rebuilding the realm, because a giant chunk of it is probably going to get destroyed during this season. So when you see more of these Iron Throne promos, and there probably will be a lot more between now and the premiere, just remember in the back of your mind that this really isn't about the Iron Throne. This is a complete misdirect on HBO's part. But like I said, there are a couple of new costumes that we see the characters wearing, a couple Easter eggs in that. I mentioned Sansa's new suit of armor that Sophie Turner mentioned in my last video. So she did this interview where she said that Sansa was going to get a new layer of leather armor in the vein of something that you'd see Cersei wearing. A way more hardcore, intricate version of a dress with a lot of extra protection laid in. But it's not like she's going to be rushing the battlefield with the other people at Winterfell when the Night King shows up. This is probably that outfit that Sophie Turner was referring to. It does look way cooler than Goth Sansa's outfit during Season 7. More elaborate, more intricate, in the same way that Cersei's costumes have evolved in the last few seasons when she's risen to power. So Sansa is now a very powerful figure in the North. The way Sophie Turner explained it is that the Northern Lords respect her more because she was able to out Littlefinger's treachery, and he'd been holding some of them under his thumb, especially Jon Royce and the other Lords of the Vale. They hated Littlefinger more than anything, so they're probably some of Sansa's biggest champions now. As for Sansa's chances at sitting in the Iron Throne, the only way I think she actually sits on that throne is if she's in King's Landing with Jon Snow, and she spent so much of her childhood focused on becoming queen that she's just curious what it actually feels like to sit on it, and she just has a brief flashback to all those terrible moments with Joffrey, then gets up, and that's the last time she ever sits on it. We also get a new look at Cersei's upgraded costume. It's just a more hardcore looking version of her Season 7 costume with the metal shoulder pads that are so big that look like they're mini pauldrons. The weird thing about her promo is that she's not wearing her crown in the picture, but that might just be because they want to have the same air of ambiguity about the Season 8 finale, like who's going to be left alive, who'll be left in power at the end of all this. Cersei is definitely on my death predictions list. I've already done a number of videos about theories, how that could go down, so I'll post links for that at the end of this. No new costumes for Tyrion or for Jaime. I don't think that either one of them would ever wind up on the Iron Throne. I definitely think that Jaime's going to die during Season 8. Arya has her same costume. She's got Needle front and center. She still has the Valyrian dagger, even though just the way she's posed here, you can't quite see it on her hip. Bran is still in the same outfit he was wearing during Season 7. No change for Brienne. For Davos, Theon is wearing a slightly more elaborate Ironborn suit of armor, and he's got a shiny new sword. Not a Valyrian sword, mind you. But this will just remind you of how far his character has come since he was wearing the similar suit of armor during Season 2 when he sacked Winterfell. 0 honor point for Theon. Now he's trying to reclaim some of that honor by saving Yara and killing Euron. And because it'd be a much bigger payoff for his arc, I do hope that he's the one that gets to land the killing blow on Euron. Euron's still wearing the same outfit he had during Season 7. Obviously, I don't think that he's going to wind up on the Iron Throne, but I am expecting some awkward scenes between him and Cersei, because remember what he wants in the fact that Cersei will use him for whatever she can. She doesn't care about Euron at all, so we'll talk a little bit more about their collective story arc when we get some actual footage during the next trailer. Grey Worm in the same unsullied armor he's always had. Ser Jorah also in the same armor that he got during Season 7 with his regular Castle Forged steel sword, because remember, he let Jon Snow keep Longclaw. Melisandre looks like she's just wearing a shinier version of the same dress that she had during Season 7. Missandei, same outfit. Samwell also wearing the same outfit we saw in the Season 7 finale. Varys and the Hound both wearing same outfits. And then the Night King obviously has not changed his armor for a very, very long time. Probably not since he became the Night King. But I do like the visual metaphor presented by this image, like the idea that the Night King would win, everyone dies, and he winds up sitting on the Iron Throne controlling the realm. Now, it would be funny to actually see him sit on the Iron Throne, but keep in mind that he does have an intelligence and a knowledge that rivals that of the Three-Eyed Raven, but he doesn't give a crap about any of the socio-political Game of Thrones of it all. He doesn't care about the Iron Throne, he doesn't care about King's Landing, he only cares about adding more fodder to the army of the dead and turning everything into the lands of Always Winter. HBO has been ramping up its promos week to week, so I do expect the trailer to drop in the next couple of weeks, but they might wait till early March. So if I get any updates about that, I will totally post a video. Leave all your requests in the comments below if there's any bonus topics that you guys want me to cover or any big questions that you have. Congratulations to the winner from my last big video, Julia Ferdinand. Please email me on the About page of my channel so I can get your contact details. Click here for my new Game of Thrones Season 8 Episode 1 teaser video, and click here for my playlist of all my Game of Thrones Season 8 previews and other promos and trailers. Thank you so much for watching. Everybody stay awesome. I'll see you guys tonight.